I'm Eric Lampkin. Welcome back to the garden. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important things in gardening, and like in anything dealing with real estate, land, they always say, what is it the realtors say? The three most important things are location, location, location. And gardening is no exception. You want a good location for your garden. As you can see here, I have this little channel that's running through. This is my pea patch, and it's the peas have just started coming up. They're not quite above the weeds yet, so I haven't gone in and cleaned out the weeds yet. But I have these channels running through here. Literally the day after we planted the peas, we had an overnight rainstorm, thunderstorm, and it dumped a lot of rain really quick. And my pea patch is down the slope of the hill, and the water ran in between. We figured it probably ran in between the raised beds up the hill and down through here and just cut channels through the pea patch. We thought we were going to lose a bunch of peas. Fortunately, we did not. Most of them came up. They stayed in the ground and actually have started to sprout, so that's good. And you're probably thinking, well, Eric, why did you put the pea patch at the bottom of the hill? And the answer is really kind of simple, and that is because that's where it had to go. The top of the hill, we got a nice flat spot up there. It's great. If I had my druthers, that's where the garden would be. But it's also got a gravel bed. Once you start digging down too far into the dirt, you hit rock. And so that's why we have raised beds up top. We've got the ground garden. The stuff in the ground is down here. Beans are up there. The peas are down here. And we just kind of have to deal with it. One of the previous owners of this house, we've been here for about 6 years, one of the previous owners had used this as a garden too, and we were fortunate that they actually put a border along the, the north side of the garden. At the very bottom of the downhill run, put some landscape timbers, and I know some of you are probably going to comment on Facebook or email or phone and say, you shouldn't use landscape timbers. Actually, they use cross ties, which some people say are even worse because they have creosote on them. And you shouldn't use that. It leaches into the soil. Yeah, but it works. And that's kind of what counts. And fortunately, I don't think there's been any damage to the soil from that. And so we left those in place. We did actually have to add a corner because one of them had rotted out down here, and so we actually had to add a corner down here to stop. We actually had a mudslide that went all the way down to the fence post down here. We literally had a mudslide that came out of the garden. So you want to be sure you site your garden well, but if you can't site your garden where you want your garden, if you can't put it in the best spot, the best flat spot that gets a whole lot of sun, make do with what you got. That's kind of a mantra around here. Is if it doesn't work, change it or move it. So we figured that the rain kind of poured down the top of the hill and kind of came in between these tomato beds and just cut a channel. You can actually kind of see where it starts up here and cuts through. And our friends in the military have a saying, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And that's what we had to do here. So we kind of built dams. We put some bricks in between the tomato beds. Hopefully that's going to keep any further washouts from at least going as fast down the hill. It won't stop everything, but it'll help. So as I said earlier, I do have a nice level spot up here at kind of the top of the hill in the yard. It has a gentle slope down, but up here things are nice and level, but there's a lot of gravel right underneath the surface here. Matter of fact, this whole part of this place used to be a gravel pit, I think, at one time. We hit rock wherever we go on the high parts, unfortunately. So we've had to make do, and that's why I put the raised beds up here. Makes things a little easier, keeps things contained. It also makes good use of the level ground that we do have. And things do pretty well in it. We've got squash, we've got tomatoes, we'll have cucumbers in one of the other beds. Behind me, we were able to actually get in some blueberries. We were able to dig down deep enough to plant the blueberries. They're not doing great, but like I always say, we'll manage that. We'll make adjustments. If they don't work there, we'll move them. But you do want to make sure you keep location in mind whenever you can. But if you can't use the best location, find the next best location and use it. And, you know, a little work, a little elbow grease, and maybe a little, you know, additions of maybe a retaining wall to keep the water from running all your soil out. You can make it work. It may just take a little extra time and effort. And gardening's about learning anyway. So if something doesn't work the first time, you try something new the next time. You just keep going, keep learning. And hey, if I can do this, you can do this.